Hey everyone, this is a landscape that I made just recently and it has got some story elements. If you wish to learn how to do very abstract painting, then this is it. Okay, so I took this photograph way back in 2008, and at that point I had a camera. So this is taken from Jhargram. So I thought of using that particular image now after so many years. So here I'm just using a projector, and the angle of the projector should be totally vertical to the canvas surface. And here I'm just using it to save time and just an indicator which goes where. And afterwards, when the line work is done, I will do a tonal drawing. And remember to look at all the instructions that I'm putting, because this was made for Instagram Reels or YouTube Reels. But eventually I thought of converting it into a proper video, but it's slightly sped up, but doesn't really matter. You can still see what I'm doing. So here I'm doing a tonal drawing, and eventually all the areas will be covered according to their base tone, and upon which I will try to refine and put things. So I'm here using a tissue paper to make it homogeneous, because I am totally aware of the color. It's going to have a lighter color, but the base should be darker so that all the underneath layers should be seen. This is how I paint. All the underneath layers are somewhat visible through the upper layers. Mostly it's just 2 or 3 layers, that's all. And here is the tonal drawing that is being done, and we are painting the sky with slight amount of yellow ochre and slight amount of vermilion red and a lot of white, because the lower part should have all the light, and I am trying to do as much overworking as possible, because there is going to be another layer which I am going to do with a palette knife. So I'm indicating all the sky holes, etc., and overall feel of the sky. Here, this is nothing very important, but just serves as a base. And here is the upper layer, which is quite dark with raw umber. So I'm using a very basic palette of raw umber, vermilion, yellow ochre, titanium white, and some amount of black. This is an announcement about my realistic online oil painting class. If you wish to create oil paintings that look realistic and very classical in nature, then you can contact me here. Students will follow a method, and after a point, they will be able to execute complex subjects without paying too much. Contact me here or on Instagram. Okay, so now we're moving to painting a tree, because all the lines of the tree should be defined before moving on to the final sky uh, area, and we need to have proper definition. And here I'm painting all the branches. You can do all the branches beforehand, and after the branches, I'm painting all the highlighted areas. And you notice that this color is quite warm. It's a mixture of yellow ochre and vermilion, and this is quite a lot of white on top of it. So this is the maximum light that is the tree is receiving. Notice that this is an overcast day, so there isn't too much light, so we have to keep that in mind. And here I'm painting sort of like very suggestive details, and do not wish to spend too much time on it. So this is how it looks. We can modify data, and now I am using a palette knife to add all the colors. Notice that all the white patches that you see are actually yellowish in nature, reddish in nature. Sometimes they're blackish in nature using raw umber, but eventually they will look quite different, and sky will have different colors, even though they appear flat in most cases. But here I'm trying to create some sort of a homogeneous pattern, considering the other masses in this painting. Now you can see that I'm painting the dark clouds as well. So this is Bengal. It'll have dark clouds, and there is quite a lot of variations between the umbers as well as reds, yellows. So I'm trying to create as much variation as possible. So this is how it looks. And now I'm focusing on the sky holes. And this is somewhat whitish paint that I painted the outside, but when I'm painting the inside areas, they will be slightly darker than the usual sky color. And here I'm doing some sort of sculpting to get that tree trunk out. And if I'm going overboard, I can correct them later on by putting more paint on top of it. So here, this is what I'm doing, correcting some areas where I did too much. So just a darkish paint, and the same process will follow the way the tree has been painted. Notice I'm indicating which part has more shadow, which part has more highlight, and there shouldn't be any kind of confusion regarding that. And this is how it looks. Now we are focusing on a very difficult part, which is the foliage. And this is, these are shrubs. So I'm painting the warm colors to indicate the color variation and the volume. And here are some very thin down paint, and painting the branches of the shrubs. And I'm using fan brush to create these effects. Notice that in most cases we will be painting on top of them, but these are like specific shapes that will remain all the time in the painting. And here indications of the road, and I'm going to eventually merge these shapes so that they appear voluminous from a distance. There isn't a big contrast in all of these areas. Overall they will follow a homogeneous pattern. Only brighter part will be the road, and nothing else, and the sky as well. So here the trees will appear more or less the same, as sort of like a very dull orangey color. Even though I'm putting very prominent highlights, they will be overpainted because I paint in layers, and this is how I paint. So I'm indicating all the highlights, and eventually I'll modify them a lot. And this is some indications of the bigger leaves that were from a different kind of a shrub. These appear to be very bright, but eventually they will have a brownish color that we will make with the help of yellow ochre, vermilion, and raw umber. So this kind of painting is called a monochrome painting. I believe that doing monochrome painting is easier with water medium, because with water you can have greater variation apart from oils, and you cannot just do a painting with terps, just slight amount of oil added to it, but that might impact the painting later on. But if it is done very thinly, then I don't think there shouldn't be any problem, as it will be mostly in stains. But in this case, the way I paint, it's actually using thicker paints, the way general oil paintings are done, and traditional oil painting. So here you need to have at least two thick colors to provide some sort of a variation of temperatures. I mean, you cannot really ignore temperature. Previously I've painted monochrome paintings with black and white, and they looked like dead paintings, but when I added some brown to that mix, it changed the whole feel. So you can try with at least three colors. Eventually it'll show some amount of monochrome. But you can see now that over painting all the areas and indicating the road as well, and it's quite light now compared to what it was before, but all the underpaintings will be seen through. And here I'm doing another foliage, and eventually we'll be doing the highlighting. And here I'm using a very old scrubby fan brush to do the trick. So don't throw all the brushes, they are very useful. And I'm using the reverse pattern so that the force is applied downwards. And here is another brush to create the highlights on top of this particular foliage. So this is very carefully done, even though it seems very fast. You have to think where the light falls and where it doesn't. So this is how you do it, and very carefully. Now here is some palette knife work. Okay, so the most of the painting is now done, and here I'm adding some story element to it. And here is a person who has taken, become an ascetic. And there'll be another figure that I have added. It's open to interpretation. You can think about it, and you're free to think whatever it might be to you. But there is some story element of, getting away from the regular life and moving to something that is not commonly available. And even the color of the painting itself is gerua, so that is related to Hindu life. So it's indicative of where it is going. And here is a child looking at this person leaving, and slightly pose is very carefully done, and as if the boy is looking at it from a distance and almost trying to uh, be hidden from it, but also curious. And I also thought of adding a dog, sort of like a companion, a very small puppy. And the painting is done. Now you can see this is the final painting, slightly darker than the real one. So photograph came out a little bit, but here are all the details. So if you like this painting, then click the like button and also subscribe. If you have any comments regarding the oil painting course, then do let me know. So I thank you for your time and take care.